G'day everybody, it's Damo here from contractorsforhire.com.au, and I just want to take you through a few things, a bit of the feedback that we get from people who are in the trades in Australia, right around the country, about some of the big things that really cause them pain in the day-to-day course of running their business. So the title of this presentation is the 4 biggest problems that every tradie faces when it comes to staying afloat and growing in the Australian market. One of the big ones that we often hear is that they can't grow their business because they just don't have the capital to get it going. And the fact is that it's impossible to grow a business without enough capital to resource the expansion, but that we're not just talking about financial capital here. We're also talking about time capital. We're also talking about people. You know, you can't do it unless you've got all the resources in all the right places. Most Aussie tradies that own their own business are still on the tools. I'm sure a lot of people watching this video can identify with that. And unless they get off the tools, they cannot grow their business because they have no time. Can't get off the tools until you've got the resources in place to replace yourself and to make sure that the jobs get done properly while you're not there to watch people. 90% of the people that I speak to every day they feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to actually finding those resources. Those 3 key things: the time, the money, and the people to actually get that growth started. Most people don't expect to find themselves in that position when they start out in business. I really don't think that anyone really ever had the desire to start a business so they could own their own job and have none of the perks, none of the holiday pay, none of the overtime, and often a pay cut when they got started. They really just didn't expect that to happen. But unfortunately, it happens to a huge number of people, especially those that are engaged in the trades. And you know what people say to me is that what would really make a big difference for them is if they could take the pressure of finding new business off their own plates. 90% of the calls that they get, they get cold called by thousands of people every week, and a lot of the calls that do come in that are asking quotes are just wasting their time anyway. The reality about that is that you don't want to let a call go, because if it goes to voicemail, you're not going to get the job, because they're just going to go to the next person in the classifieds, or the next person on the Yellow Pages, or the next person on Yelp, or wherever, and they're just going to call them. So that really just frustrates people to the nines, and that's one of the things that Adam really wanted to help solve with the creation of contractorsforhire.com.au. So I guess the big question, the big takeaway from this is would you like to waste less of your time on those telemarketers and on those dead-end quotes on the other side of town? And I think I haven't met anyone who didn't feel that they would like to do that yet. The next big pain point that we get in feedback is that attracting the right kind of clients. Now, I mean, what is the right kind of client? The right kind of client is the kind of client who's got the money to pay the bill, who is ready to go ahead with the job, not the kind of clients that are going to call 5 people 6 months before they do something and then call 5 more people when they are ready to go. And that's one thing about the people that we do get on board. They are very well qualified, because we ask them a lot of questions. Everyone we speak to tells us that they're sick of driving for hours to waste their time quoting someone with no money. I mean, or someone who's not going to go ahead. The reality is that Australia is a pretty big spread out place, and if you go across town and back in most Australian cities, you've wasted probably a quarter of your workday, a whole lot of petrol, your time, your effort and your energy and your money for little or no return. Everyone we speak to says they're sick of answering telemarketing calls while they're on job sites, just because they're afraid, as I said before, it might be a piece of new business coming in, so they don't want to let that call go to voicemail, because if they let that call go to voicemail, then they never know if it might be a client. And obviously everyone who's in business is in business to make money, and you need every customer you can get. In reality, most tradies really only need 1 or 2 more good jobs a week, or less even, to make a good income. It's wading through all the sludge to get there that's the problem. And obviously there's a question at the bottom of this slide, and I'm pretty sure that most of you would probably agree that you can identify with a lot of the points in this section of the talk. The next big pain point that we get highlighted a lot from people, particularly tradies, is the learning curves that they've got to go on. I mean, these days, if you want to market your business, you've just about got to have an IT degree, and then if you want to run your business, you've got to be, part accountant, part office manager, part marketer, part IT manager, and always attached to your smartphone while you're rolling around in the dirt sweating, and it's just not really very practical. But unfortunately, that is the reality for a lot of the tradies in Australia today. Being in business, it's tough. It really is a full-time job just to manage a business. That's why people hire office managers. That's why people hire assistants. That's why people outsource stuff. Because if you tried to do it all yourself, you would spend 40 hours a week on the admin overhead and another 40 hours a week doing the stuff that actually pays the bills. If you're a professional tradesman, you probably don't know much about online or offline marketing. You're much better doing what you do best. And the problem with that is that if you don't know much about online or offline marketing, then you are losing a huge percentage of your potential business. Something always has to give. No one man can take all of this on his shoulders. And unfortunately, the thing that usually gives is the business. So we wish you could just forget about it all. I mean, wouldn't it be nice just to let some of this stuff go, take it off your plate, and get back to focusing on the dollars and cents of the situation? Too many tradies competing for the same business. This is especially in the East Coast cities, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, but even in some of the smaller provincial capitals. This is a huge problem. If you head on over to yellowpages.com.au, and just put 3,000 into the postcode, Melbourne, you will find that there are 230 listings. Now, from memory, the Yellow Pages paginates about 10 listings to a page, so that's 23 pages. I'm sorry, if you're on page 24, 22 or 23, you're not going to get that call. You're not. If you're on page 1, you will if you're in the top 5, probably. And that's where it's a case of you've got to get smart about where you put your brand and where you do push it, and don't necessarily wade into sites like that and expect great results unless you are paying big dollars for those premium listings. Even in a smaller city like Cairns, you've got 206 earth-moving companies. Most people aren't going to hire 20. They're not even going to hire 10. They're not going to hire 5. They are probably going to hire 1. Did you know that the top Google ad spot for the phrase emergency plumber in Melbourne costs over $7,000 a month? That's nearly 90 grand a year. And most of the people that I work with certainly don't have that amount of money lazing around in their bank accounts to throw at a marketing campaign that may not work. And Google AdWords can be a bit hit and miss at times, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So in order to hire someone to manage that campaign, which you're investing heavily in, you could probably put that up to closer to $9,000 a month if you wanted someone part-time, or 10 plus if you wanted a full-timer in the office. And managing Google AdWords is a full-time job, and if you don't keep an eye on it, it can get very expensive very quickly. So I guess the takeaway from this is that there's no way that most tradies in Australia are actually in a position to compete with the big players and the big franchises who've got the big marketing budgets. The guys who can turn around and say, well, my marketing budget for this month is 20 grand, and I'm just going to throw that at a big AdWords campaign, and I'm just going to dominate the market. I'm going to get 80% of the calls in the area, and you guys just most tradies, most sole traders especially, don't even get a look in. I mean, do you reckon it's time you got a fair go? The solution to the problems that we've highlighted is to stop butting heads with your competition and just start moving yourself away from what they're doing. You could go out and spend years learning all about online and offline marketing, invest thousands of dollars in staff, and put your overheads through the roof. I can tell you what, I've spent most of the last decade learning all about it, and it's been very expensive, and most of it was very, very boring and very data-driven, and it's probably not something you want to embark on if your chosen career is, working outdoors as a tradesman. We certainly don't think that you should have to do that, and that's why we only work with one tradie in each location. That's a really important point. If you partner up with us and you say, well, I want Melbourne for this particular industry or niche, you're going to get Melbourne, and I'm not. And if someone else from Melbourne calls me, I'm just going to say no. And that's, again, the way that we've got the site set up is very different from the way that directories like Yelp and the Yellow Pages work, where they'll take as many premium listings at the top of the thing as they possibly can. And what we do is we focus on working with one business in each area, and we find that works a lot better for the people that we partner up with. Our key focus is really about supporting your business and helping it grow. It's about forming a partnership, it's about working together, and it's about mutual benefit. Certainly, I mean, the way that I judge a marketing consultant or a marketing company, not that we really fall into that category 100%, is that they should be making me 10 times what they cost me. I love it when I was sitting at my desk and you get the marketing guy come across and he'd present you a whole lot of really, really beautiful reports covered in pie charts and everything. And I'd only be looking at one line. I'd be looking at whether the line at the bottom of the profit and loss statement was black or red. And if a marketer is doing his job or her job, it should not be red. We don't try to baffle you with bull. We're not going to lie to you. We don't need to. Our results speak for themselves, and they work. So, I mean, the big question that you've got to ask yourself is, are you ready to revolutionise your business today? Or is it your desire to continue banging your head against a wall? And if that is what you desire, then please feel free to go ahead and do that. We know that one more job each week is really all it would take to completely transform most contracting businesses. You look at, say, a demolition company that's doing swimming pool removals. You know, every fiberglass pool you take out, it takes you a day and it makes you $2,000-$3,000 in profit, depending on how well you're quoting and what part of the country you're in. So one more job each week for a company doing that, I mean, that's going to result in, you know, another couple of grand folding in the guy's pocket. And I don't know too many people that wouldn't find that pretty life-changing. We're not going to promise you the world, and we're not going to charge you the earth. The only thing we will promise you is that our team will work together to achieve your goals, and that we will make sure that those goals are realistic and that what you're expecting to get is what you get. It's certainly not in our interest to have you finish up and leave with a bad taste in your mouth, because we would rather form a long-term partnership. That's certainly our focus. We know that your business is different from the guy down the road, and we're not going to try and give you some cookie-cutter approach like a lot of the listing sites do. There are no templates. Everything's custom done. And as I say, no one else is listed in your area. So it's going to be a consultative process, and it's going to be a case of talking to each other and making sure that everybody is happy at every step of the way before anything is published. Once again, I'll just reiterate that we only work with one business in each trade in each area. So if you are a tree lopper in Cairns and you want all of the tree lopping Cairns leads to come to you, that's what we're going to do for you. If, say for instance, you're a sole trader plumber who lives in Paddington in Brisbane and you'd really rather only take those inner city suburbs, then we're going to work with you on that. And again, if you are getting frustrated by driving to the other side of town because your advertising is going all out all over the place, you're not going to get those leads from us if you don't want them, because we'd much rather make sure that our customers are happy with the results, and we prefer that you were happy with them too. How would you like your business to be the only one in town that's getting all that extra business? I mean, if we look at one job a week and we look at a modest profit of, you know, $1,000 or $2,000, that's between 50 and 100 grand a year. That's not bad money, really, by any stretch of the imagination. So would another 100 grand a year make a difference to you and your business and your family and your lifestyle, and the level of freedom that you've got and the number of staff that you have and the amount of time that you do spend on site on those tools, unable to actually focus on growth? So I guess what's next? If you can answer yes to these 5 questions and you're in an area that we haven't already got a partner with, then I'd be keen to engage with you and talk with you. Question number 1 is the most important one. Are you in a position to comfortably take on more clients? If you can't handle the business, then I'm not interested in committing to putting our brand behind you, and you're going to leave with a bad taste in your mouth, and your customers are going to leave with a bad taste in their mouth, and it's going to reflect badly on us. So you've got to make sure that you are in a position to comfortably take on at least 1 or 2 more clients a week. If you can do that, then it's no problem. Are you missing out on your fair share of local business because your competitors have bigger marketing budgets? Do you want an extra job a week starting tomorrow morning, or do you want to keep waiting and trying and spending your time on initiatives that aren't working? I mean, if you want to get going, you know, let's do it. If you don't, then that's all good. Are you ready to spend more time focusing on what you're good at and less time messing around with all the other stuff? Wouldn't it be nice to have a bit more time going fishing or taking your kids to the beach than it is focusing on other stuff and working weekends because you spent your whole week on the phone, wasting your time? Are you going to be the one person in your area that we work with? If it's a yes to 1, a yes to 2, a yes to 3, a yes to 4, and a yes to 5, if that's 5 yeses, then you're ready to get started. All we need to do now is make a time to talk to you. Our website details are on the screen. Adam's mobile number's on the screen. Feel free to give him a call or just flick an email to tradepartners@contractorsforhire.com.au. We'll need to know from you what trade you are in and what location you're in. And if we are in a position to assist you in the markets that you want, in the areas that you want, then we'll be happy to get started straight away on focusing on getting that growth happening for your business. Thank you very much for your time and all the best. And we look forward to hearing from you.